So we are going to begin this discussion, which is the title of How to Create the Most Effective and Attractive Entry-Level Cybersecurity Jobs.
There's a certain sexiness to, being able to tell your mom or your dad when you go home, or your friends and your families, that you're like, a cyber police officer or something like that.
And I like what Christophe Foulon, he's echoing some of the comments, is that there's an entire ecosystem revolving around cybersecurity. I mean, literally a guy sitting in front of a monitor, or woman sitting in front of a monitor and just essentially, working as a SOC analyst isn't necessarily every job in cybersecurity. Right. And I'm assuming you communicate that. Yes, Taylor?
I mean, that's the name of the game. It's the diversity of skill needed to cover cyber is not contained with any one of us. You really get into it. It's the blending of a lot of different topics that might originate in certain disciplines of IT, not security, but eventually cross over. And there are skills out there that we're not even talking about that we're going to need in 5 or 10 years. So
there's a difference between what clients want, what clients need, and what clients are actually going to get. And it's our job to tactfully and using a lot of data express and show them the difference, that this actually might be 2 positions, or that this unicorn doesn't exist, or maybe there's a problem with your own narrative. I think the resume-based culture is one of the reasons that we're failing at this. A resume is a great way to get disqualified. Because if you think about it, one human is looking for a checklist that another human may or may not have. The entire process is broken. I mean, it's not just the entry point of resumes, but it's also job descriptions, which we can get into, the courting process, the interview process, the offer process. The whole thing is broken.
For the entry-level roles, I'm not sure a resume is even helpful because they're blank. And really what you want to see or hear is more of the projects they've worked on, or specific interests, or things where they've applied critical thinking. I don't know if I'd say the resume process is broken. The only thing I'd say is if we're only thinking in terms of trying to hire people with strong resumes, then that is stupid. Because there's a lot of people with no formal education and nothing to put on a resume who are totally qualified to be awesome at cyber.
Everyone's looking for a unicorn. Everyone's looking for 5-7 years of experience with a very specific skill set, but they seem to think that they go off into the woods on some vision quest and inherit these skills somewhere. No one wants to be the actual one to take on that person, mentor, and develop them to have those skills.
Actually spend time, write thoughtful, calibrated job descriptions. Hire a technical writer to write your job descriptions. There's an entry-level role right there.
So why aren't we using that same open source intelligence method and model of candidates, right? And maybe we are. That's my question to you is, besides looking at someone's resume or their CV, how are you vetting and sourcing candidates?
A great way to bring in entry-level candidates would be to have a journey person program. I'm not going to say man or woman, but to bring them in, know skills, have them learn on the job, as well as providing them with guided education after their day-to-day jobs so that they will learn that much quicker.
To me, it's ridiculous that we receive so much interest, and so many people who have cybersecurity degrees, have taken boot camps, have pretty much done everything that the community tells them to do. And then they go out there and they feel defeated and deflated, quite frankly, because there's just not enough opportunities for them. And they can't even get to the point of an interview. The struggle is there's so many people out there begging to break in, and there's not enough entry-level roles. They cannot get access to get into the industry.
We're setting the bar too high for entry-level roles, which this theory of continuous recruiting. You don't necessarily need to even have a position open on your team to get people in the door, to start interviewing them, to see what skills they have. And you know what? You're going to find some awesome people. And I guarantee you will find a place for them on your team if they're that good, right? So we can create these opportunities to address the cyber shortage gap in a lot of different ways, some that don't cost us anything, but we got to get away from this kind of myopic approaches, which I admitted to having done in the past, which is oh, I need a specific skill, therefore I need a specific person.
So the security culture has to be perfectly aligned with the company culture. And that's where we find clients separating that.
And some of the teams that I've seen that have done a really great job of building without spending a ton of money is cross-training, upskilling folks that may sit in an administrative assistant role right next door within your same company, who have the passion, who are interested in the role, and they can bring them over and cross-train them, upskill them, and turn them into an awesome cybersecurity person. And it's the way many of us have gotten into the field over the years. There has to be a point where we say, there's 3 million open jobs out there. It's taken me 9 months to fill them. How can I break this job down into 3 different jobs so that I can get 3 entry-level people who are sitting out there waving their hands, let me in, and they can't get in?
More important, they're interested in solving big problems. And I think that's what companies have to do a better job. Just going back to the basics of when you're interviewing or when you even put a job posting out there, is talk about a real problem that you have that we're trying to solve that might be unique to your environment. And you'll do a better job attracting them and having a real like one-on-one human intervention conversation. Stop
outsourcing this process to your recruiting department. Don't throw it over the wall and expect them to go get it for you, right? Like, you need to be active in the recruiting process. You need to do more than just put recs out there and interview candidates. We need to think about this problem a little differently, and like we computer experts do, like hack everything about it. So instead of waiting for candidates to apply, go find them. I think asking for help, is a really key thing, and going to like experts for stuff like this is the way to go. Like if you think you've got it all figured out because you've got a fancy title, you're wrong.